So we're about to be live. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Warzone Sports Network. We are about to be talking all things NFL right on the other side of this music.
I'm so glad we switched to Aaron Donald sacking Dak Prescott on that opening drive. Like it's just fitting just to see, and that's one of the guys I'm rooting for next Sunday. Is Aaron Donald. I don't know about you guys, but when your team's not in the Super Bowl, you're always trying to pick one person to root for, right? There's always one player on either team or both teams because you don't really care who wins at this point. You just want a good game. But Aaron Donald's one of those guys. I'm like, I could root for him. I could see him holding that trophy.
Yeah, and he's been around for 8 years now, and he's been such a good player for all 8 of those years. You just really want to see it.
And before we begin, I forgot to tell people we got a special guest with us, Bogart Scott Free from the GMM Network.
Hey, man. Pleasure to be here. You know what I mean? The Friday Night Wars is kind of it's like a rite of passage, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it's been a long time coming too, man. I'm usually tearing it up in the chat randomly. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we see you.
Now we get to see your face, and it's better than typing around.
Yeah, but I still got this unkept 49ers playoff beard that just makes me feel stupid now when I look in the mirror.
So Bogart was telling us off the air that he wasn't shaving or cutting his hair until the Niners win the Super Bowl. Now that it's over, he might just be heading out.
Mm-hmm. Now the babyface assassin has to come back. You know what I mean?
Are you gonna give us
I'm tired of looking
press conference like Jimmy G?
I mean, see, listen, man, Jimmy G can't do no wrong. You know, if he's scruffy, then he's scruffy, handsome Jimmy. You know what I mean? If he's clean cut, handsome Jimmy. Hey, how about that, man? You know, immediately after McDaniels gets officially hired, you hear the rumors that they're talking about it's like a Jimmy trade.
Oh no, where would he go? To Miami?
To the Raiders. Oh. I mean, it's probably 90% hoopla, but it is a funny little rumor that's going around right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of head coaches, that was the first topic in line, actually. So just real quick, well, not even real quick. Go ahead and give the full takes because the other topics are kind of quick. Favorites and least favorites so far. Joe, if you want to go first, or Jay, who just joined, could go first. Favorite head coaching hire and least favorite so far.
You want me to go first, or you want
go first? Go ahead and go first.
Least favorite has to be dang it. I don't even have it in front of me right now. I'm trying to think of who it was. My favorite hire is going to be, of course, Josh McDaniels, right? Bogart told me, he's been the one getting on me about how good he's going to be. I'm starting to see the staff that they're putting together, and I'm liking it more and more. So that's my favorite hire. One, because it looks like they're going to be committed to Derek Carr, so that's a good thing. And I've always liked that. So that's my favorite one. And the worst one was why can't I think of it? I'll come back to that one.
All right.
We'll come back to that one.
Jay's having some connection issues.
I'll backpack off of Joe, and I will say McDaniels as well is my favorite hire so far because this is a playoff team already. You know what I mean? For what it's worth, granted it's a 7th seed, but this is just how it's going to be moving forward, right? So you can't knock that. Getting in is still getting in. So
number 5 seed.
I'm sorry, number 5 seed, right? So you know what I mean? Hey, you're it. You know what I mean? And that's what McDaniel sees, man. He's also was a big fan apparently of Derek Carr. You know what I mean? Like at Life After Brady, there was rumors about them trying to, inquire what it would take to trade for Derek Carr and bring him to New England at that point. But then they went the Cam Newton route. So now here he is. He gets his chance to actually get with Derek Carr. everything that McDaniels likes to do in his system. I mean, you guys have personnel for, like, you're going to run the ball. Josh Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? He's been shown to, like, he gets beat up, but hey, you can run him into the ground. He can carry a load when need be. You know what I mean? Over the years, you see New England run a ton of 12 personnel. You know what I mean? That's 2 tight end sets. You got what's his name? You got obviously Darren Waller, and you got my man, the island of Dr. Foster Moreau. You know what I mean? And and then you look at the quick hitter passing game, and I'm not saying Carr is Brady, but you look at what they did with Brady, just get the ball out quick to the slot receiver or the running back or the tight ends, and you guys have all that there. So I think it'll fit well. It does suck being in a division with Mahomes and Herbert, you know what I mean, and possibly Rodgers maybe to Denver.
Rodgers.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it's fun to talk about the rumors. Like, this it's probably my favorite part about the offseason. We get to speculate, but and I'd say the worst hire, I'd say it's a smart job to take, the Jacksonville job. I think it's a stupid hire because he's already bringing in like Mitchell Trubisky as his OC, I think. You know what I mean? I mean, not Mitchell Trubisky. What's his name? Matt Nagy.
Oh, Matt Nagy.
I mean? Yeah.
Is that confirmed that Matt Nagy's going to Jacksonville?
No, so it's confirmed that Doug Peterson is going to be the guy. You know what I mean? But as his OC, apparently he's going to bring in Nagy. You know what I mean? Because they're all from that Andy Reid coaching family tree. You know what I mean? But I think it's a smart job to take, for Doug Peterson, because that division's like, it's pretty much wide open outside of like Tennessee. You know what I mean?
See, I was told, once I saw the Doug Peterson news last night, I texted Mike and I was like, so the NFL is talking about, throwing games and all this, owners paying them to throw games, and Jacksonville goes out and gets one of the ultimate guys who throws games. And lost the game on purpose with the Eagles, his last game on the field.
I never had a problem with that. I thought, because this was a guy who thought he was going to be around the next year. He was trying to get a higher draft pick, and he did. You know what I mean? It's just, against a division rival, that's where it becomes eyebrow raising. Remember, it was against the Washington football team.
And there was a playoff game playoff spot on the line.
Yeah, for the Washington football team, yeah.
It's kind of a gray area. Like, I'm okay with teams in a rebuild to go ahead and field a team with less talent. Like, that's not tanking to me. I think tanking is more like we're intentionally losing games, like what the Jets did by just putting man coverage on Henry Ruggs in that one play. Like, that is a little bit too far.
I was about to say that's the only way you could probably tank.
Yeah, or pain.
It's got to be the cause. Like, for example, if it's 3-18. And I'm trying to tank as a coach, I'm calling a run play here. And then, everyone else around me, what the fuck is he doing? Oh, excuse me. That'll be the last time, I swear. No swear.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're all good swearing.
But, it was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only way. And we're in the Greg Williams call right there. He called, zero blitz or zero coverage, whatever it was he called. You know what I mean? And 3 times in a row. You know what I mean? They're like, this Derek Carr is going to get us at least the 3rd time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he got it, right?
He's all they can't be that horrible. He should be able to complete this pass.
And what's funny too, at the end of the day, like for someone like Brian Flores, who is a man of the people, you know what I mean? Like he's a player's coach. You're not about to tell this man that, like, okay, we'll give you X amount of money to tank, because he's about his players. Imagine that, selling that to your players. Like, listen, man, I know you guys are trying to put good film out there and get money to feed your family, but you know what? I'm getting paid to tank. You know what I mean? Like, it's preposterous.
I knew the Dolphins were tanking when they said Tua is our starting quarterback. And I was like, all right, there we go.
Dang.
Tank away.
And you know what's funny about that too? Is, obviously the allegations go back to 2019, right? So if they ended up, getting the first pick overall, they probably still go Tua. You know what I mean? Even though Flores is on the record for saying that he wanted Herbert, you know what I mean? Because Burrow was obviously gone already at that point. But still, even then, tanking for Tua was a thing. They would have got Tua over all those guys and still been hella whack right now.
Yeah, they everybody knows that they wanted Tua, and I know it came out a little bit that the front office might have wanted Joe Burrow, but come on. That year, nobody was talking about anybody else but Tua. And if the Dolphins wanted anybody else, wanted Herbert, they could have took him, and they didn't.
Yeah, well, but see, that's the thing. So apparently, part of like his case is that like it was an ongoing, butting heads with the GM and owner, and the GM obviously been there for 21 years. The owner is always going to choose him over all these coaches that they've been running through. You know what I mean? Because Brian Flores is the best coach they've had in a while.
Yeah,
I mean, probably since Adam Gase. You know what I mean? Because Adam Gase actually did get him into the playoffs one year. You know what I mean?
And he should still be their head coach. That's the crazy thing about it. And now he might not even get a head coaching job coming up.
I think he needed to. He went to Miami, and if you know, you know. I don't have to say it, but I don't or spell it out for y'all. But he went to Miami, and like it looked like he never left Miami because that guy is wide awake.
I think the worst part of everything is when they do these kind of things, they're going to use like Brian Flores, for example, as the fall guy. I know Hugh Jackson's is doing his own thing, whatever's going on with Hugh Jackson over there. Don't know if I believe him or not. Doesn't even.
I don't believe Hugh Jackson was shit.
But the Brian Flores situation in general, they would have paid him to lose a bunch of games. They would have went 2 and whatever, and then they probably would have fired him.
Yep.
Hey, shout out to Hugh Jackson though. I beat him twice in our fantasy league this year. He was in our league.
not to get political or anything, but Bogart, but Brian Flores comes out. He does his thing, right? And he does it right away. He got fired. And you could tell he didn't want to lose. He tried to win games.
Yeah.
But then Hugh Jackson comes out and goes, well, they offered me 50. Dude, you just sucked as an NFL coach.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to say that, I got paid.
He was like, finally, I get to tell everyone why I suck so bad. It's like, no one believes you, bro.
Mike and I try to have Hugh Jackson on our show, and something about Hugh Jackson, he doesn't like us. We might have pissed him off one time. I think we pissed him off one time when we were in a group chat together, and it pissed him off, and he's never talked to us since. But every time we try to get him on, he was like, well, you can't ask me about the Cleveland job. You can't ask me about this. Well, now 3 years later, you want to be like, oh, I got paid to tank? Come on, dude.
I mean, you know what's crazy is for Cleveland, like, I mean, it was the same thing. Like, you could tank and don't matter. Like, you're gonna have a high pick. Like, look at Jacksonville. You know what I mean? They have the number 1 pick 2 years in a row. Like, you know how you get out of that situation? Draft better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how many first round QBs did the Browns go through in the last 15 years? You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. Like we're talking about they draft Brendan Whedon, they draft Baker Mayfield, they draft Johnny Manziel, all like early picks. What do you mean tanking? They just stunk. There was no tanking there. They were so bad.
I mean, like I like to believe in like crazy shit you can measure. Like I believe in curses, right? Like I think the Chargers are cursed. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just seems like no matter what, they're gonna charger it up. Something's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like
Chargers. This is a good.
I feel like Shanahan's cursed. Like wherever he goes, he's just gonna he's gonna muck it all up himself.
Don't give Shanahan a lead. Don't give Shanahan a double-digit lead.
Yeah.
In big games.
To Mike's point, I want to point out, like, I heard those quarterbacks, and it's sad when you list 3 quarterbacks and Johnny Manziel's the guy. We're like, oh, he wasn't that bad. Like, that's how bad those quarterbacks were. I heard Baker Mayfield and Brandon Whedon, and you said Johnny Manziel, and that was kind of like a breath of fresh air, like, compared to the other 2 guys.
I think Baker's got to be the best of the 3.
Hey, Baker can shred, man.
You can field him. You can field
Let's
Baker.
not forget Baker didn't start his whole rookie year. I think he started like 13 games or 12 or 13 games, but he matched the rookie record at the time, which was 28 touchdowns. Like,
didn't last very long.
Payne and Russell Wilson. Yeah, I mean, Herbert did it broke it last year, and he did it in 16 games too.
I'll tell you this: Jeremy Lin broke LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. He broke every rookie record for the first 10 starts. They don't mean they're great. They mean they had a really good start. That's all.
Lin sanity.
Well, he took them to the playoffs. Also, that's something Manziel.
Sanity went crazy, bro.
At least Baker in the league right now is a top 32 quarterback. He's a top 32 quarterback.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
is.
starter. Manziel and Whedon were not.
Yeah, no,
They
they
were
weren't.
not.
But I like what Tony says. He goes, Joe Burrow is what Baker Mayfield should have been, is what they expected Baker Mayfield to be.
But
I like
here's
that.
the thing. Here's the thing. All them touchdowns, like you said, his rookie year, he matched the record. You know what I mean? He was with Freddie Kitchens, mob boss. You know what I mean? It sounds like a mafia name. But remember, he was with bum ass Freddie Kitchens. You know what I mean? They had pushed out Hugh Jackson earlier in the year. You know what I mean? And then the next year they run it back with Freddie Kitchens. They figure out, oh snap, Freddie Kitchens doesn't know what he's doing. You know what I mean? Then Baker gets actual NFL success, gets into the playoffs with Stefanski, a run first offense. You know what I mean? Because this guy, the reason he's slinging it, that if Baker Mayfield's slinging it, that means that team's probably playing from behind. You know what I mean? Because that he's the guy who is like a couple notches above game manager. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, is a guy. Joe Burrow's a guy.
Yeah,
You know
Joe
what I mean?
Burrow's that guy. There's
got
four
it all
quarterbacks.
around.
Four
He's got it all the way
quarterbacks, I
around.
think, are going to carry the league for the next like 10, 15 years. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert. I think those are the four guys
Yeah.
that are going to carry the league. Once,
Yeah,
you know,
and
Brady
then
John Payne's gone.
I'd say as far as the old guys, the new old guys are going to be like Stafford and Cousins. You know what I mean? Like, because Cousins, for all we know, bro, Cousins can't end up in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like, Cousins can't end up in Denver. Stuff like Stafford could be there for another 4 or 5 years, right? So they're the new old guys while Tom Brady and possibly Aaron Rodgers are out of here. Obviously,
Who's the most tenured quarterback in the AFC now?
Patrick Mahomes?
Derek Carr.
It's Patrick
Derek
Mahomes.
Carr?
Derek Carr?
Yeah.
With Big Ben and all these guys leaving, he's the most tenured guy in the AFC.
What is he, 31?
Yeah, he'll be 31 this year.
I wonder how he feels.
So you got to think all these new quarterbacks coming in, and what a great time for Joe Burrow to shine is now when Tom Brady and all these guys are leaving, and now you're going into the biggest stage where you're going to get a bunch of new fans that are going to be watching you and fall in love with you.
That is cool, man. Because his story is awesome. I mean, he's a Ohio kid. You know what I mean? Everybody loves him. He's invited to the cookout. You know what I mean? He's mad. He's all mad character, and then mad work ethic too. You know what I mean? Like this is it's a stark contrast from what the Rams are. The Rams are the Hollywood Rams, flash and bang. You know what I mean? And then here, these guys, the Bengals, they just put their head down and work.
Well,
you know what I mean? So
I got a theory. If you got, I said this on up for debate, but this is my theory. So Tom Brady came in the playoffs. You know, this is a wild card divisional game. He beat the Raiders because of a tuck rule, right? And everyone thought it was controversial, and everyone thought it shouldn't have been called, whatever. Now you got Joe Burrow, same team, Raiders. Wild card of the playoffs. He beats the Raiders because of a whistle, an inverted whistle that had the defense stop playing defense, and they give him 7 points. And they won by those 7 points. Raiders could kick the field goal to win if they didn't have those 7 points. So another controversial call.
I'd still say Derek Carr shouldn't throw that pick in the last drive to win the game.
Well, that's fact. I mean? That's fact.
I still say it was pass interference.
What down was it on that play?
I think that was it fourth or third?
It was fourth down.
It was fourth. I don't fault him that much.
Down.
The fact that it was fourth because this was like I need it now, just whatever. So that's why I don't blame him for throwing the pick because it wasn't the best throw. He was just
no, not Carr. I'm talking about the inverted whistle.
Oh,
that was third down.
Yeah,
so
it was third down.
More downs. They had 2 more downs to score. J Fly. Do you think the Raiders was holding them out?
Hey, it could have been
Let's do it again. And they're just
know what's crazy though? Like, I mean. It's so easy to to doctor the footage if you want to, and move the whistle, right? The audio, right? Everybody that does editing knows it's easy to do that. Because in real time, it seemed like he caught the ball and then the whistle was blown like right at the moment he caught it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was an accident.
And I thought the whistle was going to be for him stepping out. Like him stepping out, like they thought he stepped out of bounds. You know what I mean?
Well, they need to tell the refs. They need to tell the refs not to hold the whistle in their mouth. You ain't in the NBA.
I mean, you gotta be hair on a trigger. Has hair trigger shit. You know what I mean?
You hold it like this.
And I think that's what he was blowing the whistle for. I think he was watching the feet and he was blowing it for
eyes peeled.
I did come up with my worst head coaching hire I think so far. I'm gonna stay in the AFC West. Nathaniel Hackett. I don't like it.
Ooh, I think they're going all in for Rodgers.
Hey, okay, if you don't get Rodgers,
You're
now
screwed.
you just built your career off of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay because who was really the
You
offensive
probably
coordinator?
make a move for Kirk Cousins if you're like.
Or Jimmy.
You know what's funny about this quarterback carousel? It's all waiting to see what Rodgers is going to do first. You know what I mean? Because now obviously we know we're going to move Jimmy as well. So it's like in order. And then you have a new head coach for Minnesota. You know what I mean? New regime. We don't know what they're going to do with Cousins because there was already like a little rumor mill going on that he might be on the move. So it's like it kind of in order. It's like Rodgers, Cousins, then Jimmy perhaps in free agency. Like because look at the AFC South. I mean the NFC South. Carolina, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay need quarterbacks, basically. You know what I mean? Pittsburgh obviously would have to be in a trade. You know what I mean? And then there's Denver. Here's what I worry about Nathaniel Hackett, whatever his name is that like these kind of hires, they scream Adam Gase. Because Adam Gase, when he was with Peyton Manning, I mean, how dope was he? Is it Peyton Manning or is it you with the ill game plan? And then he parlays that into an OC job with Chicago. And then guess what? Jay Cutler has a career year. So then I respect that. I'm like, oh, okay, Adam Gase. Because Jay Cutler is trash, right? Then he has a career. And then he parlays that to the job with the head coaching spot with the Dolphins, right? So now going back to this, doesn't this remind you of that? How much of it is Aaron Rodgers for Nathaniel Hackett? You know what I mean?
We're gonna find out.
Then
he better get Aaron Rodgers then.
You're losing Vic Fangio, one of the best defensive minds in the game, who built that defense up. So my thing is, can Nathaniel Hackett keep that Denver defense good? Because that Denver defense is what kept them in a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean they easily have a top 5 defense if they have any kind of like top 12 or better offense. You know what I mean? Because like their offense was so bad that like the defense just on the field like majority of the time they're losing all the things you don't want to lose. You know, the turnover battle, the time of possession battle. Because if not, that defense is ill. I mean, that's why they got rid of Von Miller. They're like, listen, man, because Von Miller ain't that old. You know what I mean? He's old, but you know what I mean? It's just like you didn't have to trade him away, but they're confident in their linebacking core.
I think he was also expiring contract. I'm not sure, 100% certain.
Yeah, get something out of it. It's smart.
Yeah,
he's at the end of his career
for one of the dumber organizations. You know what I mean?
I'll go to my favorite Knicks.
They make bad decisions.
My favorite hire was Brian Daboll. We talked about Brian Daboll a lot last year. I know the Giants don't have much going for him right now, but I think the biggest deal with them is just the quarterback position. So if he can get a new QB that either handpicks in the draft or maybe they can get their hands on like a Russell Wilson or something, he can get something going with this offense. Think about the wide receiver room. They got Kenny G on that big deal. That's a bust as of right now, but I think with a little bit more organization.
Gettleman wasn't a smart person.
With a little bit more organization, maybe they can get something out of Kenny Golladay. Even wide receiver 2, hopefully, out of Kenny Golladay. But the rest of the room, Slayton's super young and on a rookie deal for a couple of years. Kadarius Toney was a rookie. He's on his rookie deal for a couple of years. Sterling Shepard doesn't have his contract.
The line's really bad. I mean, they got some pieces on that line, like some young guys. They even got Nate Solder, like a veteran guy. You know what I mean? And really, it's just I think what it is too is it's just been the wrong coaching staff there. You know what I mean? Now they got Dable there. You know, he obviously spent time with Josh Allen. So what they gonna do? They got a mobile-esque QB with Danny Dumbass. I'm not gonna say, you know, he's the next Josh Allen, but you know, you could expect, you know, the quarterback to probably lead that team in rushing. You know what I mean? I would hope not because you have Saquon, right? I mean,
that's
maybe.
That's the 2 question marks for me is if they can get a quarterback and they can just figure out what they want to do with Saquon, whether they want to keep him and game plan around him or they want to trade him.
I like to look at what coaches did before. And like a coach, you know, he obviously spent the last couple of years with Buffalo. You know, the running backs, they don't really get off too much. You know what I'm saying? But in the last 6-7 weeks of the year, in going into the playoffs, I'm counting the playoffs as well. They got Devin Singletary going, so maybe this would help a young QB like Danny Dumbass. Like if they could really, you know, really establish a run with Saquon, and I do like year 2 removed off of an ACL. You know what I mean? Like I'm already saying too, like this year, Saquon, that he's going to be that early third round value like last year's Joe Mixon. You know what I mean? Where people just don't want to touch that guy. Pause. But then he actually comes through with value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Brian Dable, and then Brian Dable is a good hire. I think it's a better hire for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley for both of them because I don't think he's getting rid of them. I don't think the New York Giants brought in Brian Dable so they can go, hey, we're going to get a brand new quarterback for you. No, they're going to keep Daniel Jones as their guy. Like it or not, Daniel Jones is getting another year.
I feel
they
bad
think
for
that
the
Dable
kid.
can turn him into Josh Allen.
Maybe they'll bring in Mitchell Trubisky, right? It's the second time I mentioned him tonight because Mitchell Trubisky actually knows the system. He's the backup for Josh Allen last year. They signed him for a little 1-year backup deal. You know what I mean?
The difference is Josh Allen already had elite mobility and an absolute cannon, like top 5 cannon in the NFL. They just needed to reel him in and teach him how to play professional football because he was playing college football out there his first year. Daniel Jones doesn't have any of that. He's mobile, but he's just mobile. It's not like it's above like this crazy mobility. I don't like it. They need to
He's
move
so
on
fast, his
from
legs,
Danny Dimes.
they run out from underneath him.
If Danny Dimes played the whole year last year, I think they win 2 more games. That's it. 2 more games.
I don't know. I'm just telling you, I have the feeling that New York will not move away from Daniel Jones, at least for 1 more year.
They don't show any reason to believe otherwise.
Who they bring in? They brought in their offensive coordinator. What's his name? The old quarterback from the Eagles.
2021.
Khalifa?
So he has,
Kafka?
Yeah, Kafka. That's who they brought in as their OC. So he's going to be Dable's OC.
Yeah, the old quarterback of the Eagles, Kafka, or whatever his name is.
You know what's crazy? I think just in my opinion, maybe y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Like, I feel like the best head coaches are like special teams guys, man, because they like Dan Quinn, for example, he's a DC, then it has a head coach, not so great. And then, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, he got to the Super Bowl, but I'd like to think that it was mostly on the back of like Shanahan's offense. I mean, they had an MVP year, right? And then, but then you look at, he goes back to being just a DC with the Cowboys, turns that defense all the way around, like a top 5 unit. You know what I mean? So, it entails that he's probably better off as a DC. When you hire, when like a Rich Bisaccia comes and takes over in the middle of the year and he's a special teams coach, the special teams guys, they mix and mingle with the defense and the offense. They kind of already have a grasp on the entire team. You know what I mean? Look at John Harbaugh. He's one of the greater coaches in the NFL. Started special teams. I know Belichick made his way through special teams before he was a DC. And then onto an HC. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. What y'all feel about that?
I mean, I think that's a perfect transition to my least favorite hire, and I'm gonna need your help, Jake, to go against the Bay Area squad, SoCal versus NoCal. I'm going McDaniels as my least favorite hire. You can call it Raiders hate, but he's got a below 400 winning percentage as a head coach. Players have come out and said that he was cheating while he was in Denver. Gave the Colts the middle finger. And I just feel like the Raiders are trying to replicate what's in New England in Las Vegas. But we've seen that formula fail so many times everywhere else. I mean, just recently, there's Josh McDaniels, the first try. There's Bill O'Brien, Matt Patricia, Joe Judge. All these guys have been damn near embarrassing after leaving New England. And now even Brian Flores got fired. Now that's a whole different scenario. I won't lump him in with the other group just yet. And we could go back.
Hey, man, I got to say this.
My
Bill
thing is,
O'Brien,
yeah, I was going to call a timeout on that too.
Well, yeah, because Bill O'Brien, first of all, shout out to Bob. Before Bob, started getting influenced by the dark side of the force, and trading away all his good pieces, out of nowhere, right? Before that, he was religiously in the playoffs with bum quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Like, Bill O'Brien, the coach, is a great coach. Bill O'Brien, the GM, is a whole nother story.
Didn't Bill O'Brien make a playoffs with Deshaun Watson at quarterback? Like, if you get in the playoffs with Deshaun Watson, you should.
Don't make me lose my mind.
I'm talking about when he got in there with Brian Hoyer, or
take
when
him
he got
out
in there with Brock Osweiler. You know what I mean?
Take him out. Josh McDaniels the first time. What went wrong there? What's his out?
White Jesus didn't love him.
What about Matt Patricia?
Because
Detroit's
saying
fault.
he had the Tim Tebow. Listen, Matt Patricia went
Matt
to
Patricia went to
Detroit.
the Lions.
Is that what it
Anybody
was?
going to the
It was
Lions?
the Lions?
Nobody
Okay, what about
went
Joe
there.
Judge? Everyone gets an excuse, right? What about Joe
No,
Judge?
Joe Judge was just bad.
Joe, and you know what else with Joe Judge? What was
Thank
bad?
you.
He was David
Exactly what I'm trying
Gettleman.
to say.
David Gettleman was really bad. Like, imagine if you're Joe Judge, you come from a winning organization, you come somewhere where, and you're at a new place where they got it all wrong. You know what I mean?
I just feel like they're taking a huge risk on McDaniels to try and replicate what's going on in New England. The one thing he has going for him is schematically wise, he can move the New England offense over here. They have the pieces to do that. They have that little slot receiver, they have a tight end, and they have a solid running game sometimes when everyone's healthy, which is very rarely, but sometimes. I'll just say that at least. But I feel like it's a huge risk when it's been all failure coming out of New England, including Josh McDaniels the first time he came out.
You know what's
When
crazy?
if you're going to take the risk, take the risk
it's
on the guys the
failure.
players want. Take the risk on
failure till it
Pistachio.
works.
Why don't you take the risk on Pistachio for one more year?
No, because he's not the guy.
I like Pistachio, but I think I like Pistachio really because I just like saying his name because his name is cool. Rich
I don't even know how to say his name still. I don't even know how to say his name.
I barely figured out how to
Sounds
pronounce
like
his
some
name like
designer
the
shit,
game.
man. Sounds like
Okay,
designer.
let me ask you this, Mike.
I'm
New England's offense this year.
Yeah.
Was the New England's offense better than you expected it to be with Mac Jones under helm? With the wide receivers that they had. Who they have? They have
Kendrick
Nelson
Lamar,
Aguilar.
Born Identity.
yeah,
Then they
and then they had
Nelson Aguilar.
They had nobody there. They had their two tight ends, and they were still a top of the league offense.
What do you think about Brandon Staley?
What about him?
I mean, he had the number one defense the year, became the Chargers head coach, but you shit on him all year.
What are you talking about?
I think he.
Now you're talking about McDaniels.
You're one timeout away from making the playoffs.
Exactly.
You know what?
I don't know.
Okay.
You're trying to shit on your own coach to talk a shit about the Raiders hire.
No, I'm saying that you shit on him, and you're using the same logic against me on the other way
my
back.
thoughts on Staley, though. Here's my thoughts on Staley.
Brandon Staley's still the Chargers coach?
He's like the super new age, space age coach.
Damn, I just about to
where it's like he's like, yeah, we don't never punt it no more. We're just going for it every time. Oh, on our own 18-yard, yeah, go for that. And Herbert's like, word. And it's like, and here's another thing. Do they only call the right plays on fourth down? Just why don't you try that on first down? Because it's like first, second, third, nothing's working. Fourth down, on the other hand,
yeah, it works. McDaniels is either going to be a huge success and the Raiders are going to turn it around and be a playoff team every year, or a huge failure once again. And I think we're going to know by about week 8 which one of those two.
And that's why I wanted to see. And that's why I'm a Raider fan, and that's why I'm iffy about the McDaniels hire, because I know the past. I know his past. I've seen him. But that's why I'm worried about who he brings in on his staff. And so far, like I said, every hire that he's making on his staff, I'm loving it. And if they had who did I tell you they had in today, Mike, as they're trying to get them as a defense coordinator?
I forget the name.
The Giants defense coordinator from last year.
Yeah, it was 2 defensive coordinators for decent defenses.
So they brought in Patrick Graham from the Giants to interview him today as a defense coordinator, and then they were talking to what's his name, Sahib from the Bears defense coordinator last year. So that's the 2 names that they're trying to get.
Desai or whatever.
Because Gus Bradley's gone. Gus Bradley is now the defense coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. He's gone.
Wow, how come? Oh yeah, obviously because of the new regime. Hey, good for him that he ended up with the Colts, man. Because now his dinosaur cover 3, he's gonna take it over there. You know what I mean? Hey, and the cover 3 though, it works as long as you got good pass rush. That's why, like with what's his name, Ngakoue and Crosby, Gus Bradley is actually because Gus Bradley, he's the architect of the Legion of Boom. You know what I mean? People give credit to Dan Quinn, but Dan Quinn's the one that took over for Bradley. Like Bradley's scheme has been like the thumbprint for the past 10 years. Now, this past year it switched up though. A lot of shell defenses, 2 high safeties. You know what I mean? They're changing it up a lot.
Yeah, I've watched Bradley's. Yeah, I don't really like. I mean, I like his scheme when you have.
He was with Shaw for a couple years. That's right.
And we were really bad. But the reason we were really bad is because we didn't have the
injury. Because you guys were cursed.
That's
pretty much the answer to anything.
Not just that.
The Chargers.
The Chargers never have had. I mean, injuries. I guess we didn't have the pass rush because either Ingram or Bosa could never stay healthy. One of the 2 at all time. But it's more just his scheme works when you can get the quarterback with a 4-man rush, and in very few places does that exist. Vegas was surprised. The D line surprised me a little bit because Ngakoue played like prime Ngakoue, like Jacksonville Ngakoue. But like even with that, there were games where you see the defense, they can't stop anything in the fourth quarter because the D linemen are tired and can't rush. He doesn't blitz.
Yeah.
Blitz at all. That's my biggest issue with it. That's it.
But here's the thing this is what I was trying to tell you last year about Gus Bradley, Mike. The Raiders have never had a great defense. Like in the since Derek Carr's been there, it's been like 26th and worst defense. Mm-hmm. Gus Bradley might not come in and give you the number 1 defense, top 5 defense, but he's going to give you a top 15 defense, a defense that's going to keep you in the damn game, a defense that's going to, as long as you have a good enough offense that can do something, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about Gus Bradley is because we just needed somebody to come in. We just needed somebody to come in as our defense coordinator, give us a top 15 defense, and he did his job. Not saying that his defense is going to go win championships, but if you have a good enough offense to go along with that defense, and he keeps you in the game, yeah, it's kind of predictable, and you can kind of get beat by it, but you're not going to get your ass kicked with it.
Yeah, it just depends on who you run into and how good your offense is, really. That's what he's trying to bet on. All right, let's move on.
What happened to the family show, Mike?
Head coaching mess. And J-Fly, help us out.
Them kids. That's what he said.
I did what?
Yeah, this is not a family show. We ain't no family show. But here, I got a list of quarterbacks that could be on the move this offseason. I'm just going to say the name, and everyone try and just kind of off the top of your head where you think they'll be playing next year. So starting with Derek Carr, I think he'll be playing for the Raiders. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I'm. There was a point at the beginning I was going somewhere else, but yeah, McDaniels stamped it back. Raiders. He's going back to the Raiders.
Bogart, what do you think? Raiders?
Yeah, I say Raiders.
Yeah, I'd say the Raiders, but like just to have fun, I'd say like if Bruce Arians and all them over there at Tampa Bay might be making a phone call. You know what I mean? Out of conference type move. Big, a lot of weapons there. Good defense in place, could be a draw. You know what I mean? This is a team. This is a team that don't care about no first round picks right now. They have personnel to win now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. J-Fly, you think Raiders too?
I think after the way he lost in the playoffs, again, we won't go into it, but the whole whistle thing, I think that they're going to give him at least one more year. It wasn't like he just stunk up the place. I think he played pretty good, gave him a chance to win. So I think one more year for Derek Carr.
I will say McDaniels goes there because Derek Carr is there.
Yeah.
I think McDaniels being with someone like Brady for so long who like knows the preparation, and then after having a year of Cam, and which is like was like and then like he has rookie Mac Jones where he kind of has to hit the reset button, heavy run, and make it quarterback friendly. Like he kind of doesn't want to do this. You know what I mean? So
the only way it feels like they're gonna move him is if they can lock in an upgrade, which is 3 quarterbacks: Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, or Deshaun Watson. If they can't get one of those 3, they ain't got
Deshaun Watson, Mike. He's not
up for
Derek Carr.
Okay, with Tom Brady gone, with Tom Brady out of the league, Derek Carr is a top 12 quarterback. So you got to find somebody better than him.
We'll revisit that. We'll look at the list and re-update it again.
Derek Carr, maybe Deshaun Watson, number 18.
This one's a little harder.
Hey, but I'll throw some names out there. Like if you said, like, okay, he's not going back to the Raiders, even Cleveland or Pittsburgh would be a nice destination for him as well.
I like both of those. All right, Jimmy G, Joe, I got him going to Tampa.
Oh, I like that one.
It's a good one.
I would say Jimmy G goes to the New York Giants.
Ooh.
I know I just did a big old talk about how they're not done with Daniel Jones, but they bring in Daniel Jones and do the kind of the same thing that they did with Trey Lance this year. Have him teaching, have him starting, going back and forth. I would like Jimmy G.
Now you're talking about Daniel getting possibly a 5th year after another backup. Can't do this with him. I can't do it, Danny Dumps, for this long. What do you think, Bogart? Jimmy G. You're the Jimmy G expert.
No, I'm not a Jimmy G expert. You know what I'm saying? But I will say wherever he goes, they will be winning ugly with handsome Jimmy, because that's what he does. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Except for when it's all the way just ugly. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
And he couldn't smile this one away. You know,
every once in a while it gets a little ugly.
Yeah, no, that's my legit saying with him over the years, that we win ugly with handsome Jimmy. You know what I mean? Because it's never pretty. You know what I mean? But I'd say the Steelers You know what I mean? Or maybe
Steelers.
Carolina. In this order, Steelers, Carolina. First of all, Steelers would have to do something they've never done, trade for a QB. You know what I mean? So there's that. You know what I mean? But I'd say the Steelers, then Carolina, then Tampa Bay in that order.
Yeah, I like Carolina. That could be a backup plan for them. You know that they're going after Watson. It's already been like they've just been in.
Oh yeah, and then Miami.
Time.
And then Miami.
If they don't get Watson, why not Jimmy G?
Give McDaniels got hired, right? Did they hire McDaniels officially yet over there? Mike McDaniels for Miami?
No. He's not hired yet.
Okay, he's not hired yet. Okay.
Jimmy G.
Well, Jimmy G just beat Aaron Rodgers. He just beat Dak Prescott. He almost beat Matt Stafford. So I mean, he's a really good quarterback. I want him to stay in San Francisco, but from what I'm hearing, it looks like they're done with him. So I think Denver makes sense if they don't get Aaron Rodgers. I hope Aaron Rodgers will go to Denver, honestly. But if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G's not that. He just beat Aaron Rodgers. So I mean, it's not that bad of a backup. Obviously not as good, but it's not that bad. And then if not, I would want to see him go to Cleveland. And let's just dump Baker Mayfield off somewhere and get Jimmy G in Cleveland, have them make the playoffs finally, and do something in the playoffs. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Denver or Cleveland. If not, Tampa makes the most sense if you can't get in those spots.
See, here's the thing: is Jimmy carries like a $26 million.
That's the thing.
Ticket on
right.
him. So
you won't be back.
You know what I mean? Like the schematics of all that. That's why it's like there's certain teams that have that absentee cap hit from the former quarterback.
I believe
no more Roethlisberger, no more Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Those guys are like $30 million guys. So
yeah,
Jimmy could slot right in those situations.
Jimmy literally would just take Tom's Tom was like 29 or something this year. So it's literally
well, see, that's why I had a team in mind, but it wouldn't have fit his contract. Was the New Orleans Saints? So I was like, Jimmy G in New Orleans.
New Orleans Saints, they're like $70 million over the cap.
That's what I'm saying. Their cap is so ridiculous.
Yeah. Even though the cap's going up, they got problemos. Now, see, check this out.
Sean Payton said, "Screw you guys, I'm out of here. Deal with that shit, and maybe I'll come back. Maybe."
As an organization, listen, I could take my hat off and say this, but I do want to say, as a Niner fan, or even if I wasn't a Niner fan, you got to see that the Niners, they run their organization well ever since this regime's been in there, because we're squeezing the most value out of Jimmy. We're trying to probably get at least a second rounder. Who knows what we'll get, but I know that's what we're trying to get. Probably get like a third and something else. You know what I mean? Either way, we're getting something out of Jimmy. You know what I mean? Because we traded the house away to get Lance, because that's what you do when you have this type of team. You need a rookie QB contract in the building, because you had to pay guys like Fred Warner. You have Nick Bosa, who we got to pay coming up here. We got to retain Debo, so we're gonna have to pay him. You know what I mean? So we wouldn't be able to do all that with Jimmy. That's why when people was asking me, you know what I mean, being like the guy who like covers hella shit, you know what I mean? They're asking me, so what if Jimmy, gets an NFC title game, or what if he gets the Super Bowl? You're just gonna turn your back on him? Yeah. We're gonna flip him. If we got to the Super Bowl, that means for surely we're getting a second round in return.
You're choosing between moving on from Jimmy and losing like 3 or 4 star players that are around him that are kind of carrying him.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's a business. You know what I mean? It's a business, and that's why I say we're doing it right. I like
the Niners, but what I will say, when they drafted Trey Lance, I said if he starts this year, the Rams win the division. And now I think the Rams don't win the division for the next few years, because I don't see Trey Lance as that guy. I think they should have kept Jimmy G, but I get the money.
Or you see he's not that guy. He hasn't played.
Here's the thing. When you have a player like Jimmy, you know what I'm saying? It's a team effort for real. You got to have the defense keep everything close. You got to be able to establish the run on offense to open up the play action for the QB, because he's not a playmaker purely on his arm talent, right? Lance is extremely raw, but give him a whole year and this whole offseason, he's going to shock the world, bro, because Shanahan's one of the greater offensive minds scheme-wise. You know what I mean? Like, Jimmy got 2 rushing touchdowns this year because they know how to scheme little situations where Jimmy's going to get in there. Jimmy's not even a mobile QB. Now we're going to see a lot of the bootlegs and rollouts, and we're going to see the extended plays. Like, Trey Lance is the boy. Here's another thing. Yeah. If Trey Lance didn't break his index finger on his throwing arm, like 3 days, the weekend in practice before week 1, we probably see Trey Lance week 1.
Possibly.
Like, against Detroit. You know what I mean?
But But I want to. I respect what you're saying. But I want to take something you said right now and use it because you said Trey Lance is going to shock the world. Anytime anyone says that anyone's going to shock the world, it means they're not very good to begin with. Because no one's saying Joe Burrow is going to shock the world next year because we know he's good.
Because he's
Patrick
already
Mahomes is not
proven.
gonna shock the world.
But and this goes back to I'll say Mahomes. I'm not comparing Lance to Mahomes, but no one when Mahomes was coming out of college, they're comparing him to Brett Favre, but more so in the fact that he's a gunslinger, but he's gonna throw a ton of picks. He's reckless. You know what I mean? He gets a year behind Alex Smith, and even though they have two completely different skill sets, you know what Alex Smith taught him? How to throw the ball away. Okay, it's not there, throw it away. Okay, see that? Just take what the defense gives you, throw it short. Because now Mahomes has that in his game. Year one, he was playing like a vet. I'm not saying you'll learn a lot from Jimmy, but one thing I will say Lance probably learns from Jimmy is that you don't always got to take off. Remember, I told you Jimmy had 2 rushing touchdowns because there was a situation where he's like, okay, I'm going to take off here. The defense gave me it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's little things like that why sitting behind someone like Jimmy, at least you'll be able to get that from a veteran. But like I said, if he doesn't break his finger, and because once he broke his finger, he's not running with the team wins. You know what I mean? That was it for him. You know what I mean? And then when he did get his shot, it was against Arizona. They're like the number 1 defense at the time. You know what I mean? It made him look like a fool. Then even when he got his shot, like against Houston, it was an ugly one. It was damn near a Jimmy G game where it was real ugly, but we still.
I'm just all I'm saying is the last 2 times I heard people say this guy's going to shock the world when it comes to NFL quarterbacks was Tyler Heineke and Duck Hodges were the last 2 times I've heard people say they're going to shock the world.
And Justin Herbert. No, I knew Herbert was a stud since college, though. I knew he was a stud. He's not shocking. He didn't shock me. I think Trey's going to be legit. Just a little bit I saw in preseason. I've seen some videos come out of practice videos, and it's like he just looks like he's got it all. I think the biggest problem for him is experience. Jay, I'll make a deal with
y'all. That y'all weren't doing work with me back then, but I said the same thing about Lamar Jackson. Like, after year 1, when he got in there after Flacco, that his rookie year, he got up to the playoffs, but he wasn't at Lamar yet. You know what I mean? He was he would run the ball, but he wasn't throwing the ball yet. He came out that sophomore year, he was MVP.
Yeah, Lamar was underrated by the NFL though. Like we all knew he was good, and we were like, "You're tripping not drafting him." And then he proved the haters in the NFL wrong. But we knew he was good as like fans watch people watch the game. But NFL people,
I've seen Shanahan. I've seen Shanahan have success with every type of quarterback imaginable. Your Matt Ryan's. Where he's just like a statuesque, classic drop back QB. You've seen him with RG3, you know what I mean, have an MVP, a rookie MVP year, you know what I'm saying? Just go crazy on the ground and with the play action, you know what I'm saying? Because the run, and the read option, right? Remember that was when the pistol was hella popular, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then I've seen him win with Brian Hoyer, you know what I mean? And go 7-1 in Cleveland before Brian Hoyer tore his ACL. And that was crazy, because people don't remember that. You know what I mean?
But I don't think of Trey Lance as Lamar Jackson. I don't think of him as Lamar
shock the world.
So I think he's going to fit Shanahan's offense a little bit more because he's not a run first quarterback. He'll run. Trust me, he'll run. But I think 49ers are what? What kind of offense do the 49ers run? It's a running offense, right?
Zone run scheme. More so outside zones.
So,
yeah, and it's just going to take a lot of pressure off of Kittle and Samuel and Mitchell if they keep him around too.
They probably take massive hits in fantasy too. The skill players.
Yeah, I mean
now it's like how much are because now he's a running factor too. Exactly. You don't get a mobile QB and not use him for what what he can do.
That's what I was about to say. That's what I was about to say.
He's a big boy too. Like we're a power run team. Like you know what I mean. And that play action, he has a big arm. We've already seen him flash. He's extremely raw. Needs an entire offseason. Needs a lot of TLC. You know what I mean? And ironically, people knock him because he came from the same school as Garbage Wentz, right? And guess what? Garbage Wentz sophomore year, he figured it out. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he's gonna, because listen, man, Wentz was the guy 2017 before he tore his ACL and lost his manhood.
Well, Jay, I want to make a deal with you, but first I was gonna say is that it's gonna take a lot of pressure off of Debo and Kittle and them, because it just feels like when I watch these Niner games, Kittle and Debo feel like they have to fight for every single yard all the way down the field, because that's the game plan. Just keep moving the sticks.
Everybody's getting their hands dirty no matter what, because if you're not part of the actual play, you're still blocking for the play.
Trey Lance is probably going to take about 50 hits away from those guys. Like, help those guys out a ton, just being able to move and play make him damn self. It doesn't need to be a 4-yard Jimmy G pass that Debo needs to break 3 tackles to get the first down, which he does because he's great. But that's so wearing on your body. Jay, deal. Trey Lance will be back in the NFC title game in his first 2 years as the starter.
All right, look, first of all, I always love making deals with Mike because they're always fun. But now I don't know, March 1st, because I'm going to be a Rams or Bengals fan. I'm a Rams fan right now. I'm going to be a Bengals fan maybe by Sunday. No, I'm going to be a Chargers fan. March 1st is when officially my Chargers fandom officially starts. Because I can't like a team. You know, it's too early. It's Super Bowl. Got like a Super Bowl team. But I'm Chargers take first place. So I don't know if I want to root against anything now. We have the same interest now, Mike. So now I feel like Trey Lance making the NFC Championship game would be great. Because then the Niners go to the Super Bowl and the Chargers beat them, and we have a Super Bowl. Our season tickets go through the roof. We're celebrating. We're not.
All right. I'll take your logic, but we have a bunch more quarterbacks here. Russell Wilson.
Hey, as a Charger, let me ask you a question. As a Charger fan, like, and you share the stadium with the Rams, do low key don't want them to win, so you're not like the lesser of the team.
I'm not that kind of fan, man. I'm not that salty. The only teams that I actively really will root against is the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. I want the city of Los Angeles to win the championship, if that's the case, even if it's not my guys.
I like it.
So if the Lakers are out, I want the Clippers to win it. If the Dodgers are out, well, the Angels aren't winning shit, but you know what I mean.
It's funny because when I don't win it, I just say fuck everybody.
Just like, fuck everyone else.
Well, anyway, as a Rams, Chargers, whoever, if they're out, Niners are next up because it's still California. You know, saying California love. So that's how we see it.
Hey, Joe will tell you, like, I can't stand the certain type of Raider fan, but I know like a real fan. You know what I mean? When I see one, that's why me and Joe always got along, because he can't stand the Niners fans like I can't stand the Raiders fans. You know what I'm saying? But I also can't stand the bandwagon Niner fans neither, though. You know what I mean? Because they're the ones that are talking about, get rid of Jimmy and this and that, like, and not basing it on because this was the plan all along to get rid of him. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't win for us. Like, yo, you really don't know what's going on.
Well, here we go. We got someone in the chat. That was my next quarterback I was going to bring up. Russell Wilson. I've got him, and this is where I really want him to go because of the Dayball thing. I like Dayball. I like what he did in Buffalo, and I like a lot of Giants players except for one. I think the deal is going to be Daniel Jones and 2 firsts for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's going to be a Giant next year. But what do you guys think?
I mean, they got some high draft picks, right? You know what I mean? So I do like that one though, because if I'm Daboll, I'm not trying to start over. Like, I think that's why even someone like a Sean Payton retires out of nowhere or resigns, whatnot. Because, he's just like, man, I'm not trying to start over. People want to win and win immediately. And, bringing in a Russell Wilson, it would mean like you got to win now. I think there's too many pieces that they're missing to go and do that. It's like Russell Wilson's already in that situation. You know what I mean? Where he's on a team that's like 4 or 5 pieces away from being like, a real contender. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Daniel Jones to me is a coach killer. And what I mean by that is
the thing though too is to get to my point is Russell Wilson. He has a no trade clause. So I mean, sell that to me. I'm Russell Wilson, and you're like, hey, bro. So how about this? We're going to New York. All right, sell me on it.
I mean, they've got receivers. They got young guys. And they got cap space because all
and then you know what you do? You ask Sierra, and Sierra would be like, "Fuck that."
Sierra's gonna be like New York.
Good weather.
She'd be like, "I could dance in New York. I like New York."
You made
he played that Super Bowl in New York. It was hella cold. He don't want to go back.
She could sing and dance in New York, or like Miami or something might be.
Man, they don't need to do that, bro. They're so rich.
Miami would be fun too.
Hey, see, there you go, and that's where I think like. Happy wife, happy life. Because when you look at all the places that he listed that he would go last year, they're all like, what was it? He
big
said
cities.
Cowboys. Yeah, they're all big cities. Like, I don't think he's trying to go. I mean, obviously that's the biggest media market, and it's the first city, right? New York. But it's the Giants still, man. I think
And he can turn it
I think
around.
you would rather go to the Washington Comrades or whatever they're called.
Comrades. Jay, where do you think he's going?
I'm sorry, that's
I honestly
oh
The
shit, what are
Commodore.
they called?
Commanders.
Commanders. There you go.
Comrades.
something dumb. We shouldn't even call him a name. It's a verb. But anyway, I think Russell Wilson. I think he'll stay with Seattle. I think that he likes Seattle. Seattle likes him. I don't see him leaving. Honestly, if I had to pick somewhere for him to go outside of Seattle, I think again Denver or Miami are the desirable places to go right now if Aaron Rodgers is there. But I think he stays in Seattle. It's too much of like a small knit love, thing with Seattle and the fans. They love him. He loves the fans. He loves the hospitals. He visits the kids. The kids love him. It's just all that stuff. So I think he's staying in Seattle.
Russ, they're disrespecting this man's name right now. I see people ranking him at like 9 and 10 in their list. If Russ gets the hell out of Seattle and gets just an average O-line, he's gonna be back to being a top 5 quarterback again. And he's gonna compete with the Cowboys.
It's what I think the Giants deal. If the Seahawks get Daniel Jones and 2 first-round picks that are like super high this year because the Giants are terrible, I think that works for both sides. So it's technically a win-win, but you can't replace what Russell Wilson means to the city and what he means to the team and like what he means to the whole community. So I don't think that unless he really wants out of there, like he just like I can't stand it in here anymore for whatever reason. Outside of that, I don't think they're going to
cost.
So you want them just to waste his career away in Seattle until the end? Because once Tyler Lockett's gone,
wasting his career. He got him one.
Once
He's
Tyler
got a Super Bowl.
Lockett, the rest of his career.
Yeah, he got him one.
He's in his
The
prime
rest of
right
it,
now.
I you know what though? I will say is I think Pete Carroll is old and senile.
He's
I
retired.
think I think he has a great television show that he should just. Oh my bad, that's Ellen DeGeneres. But I will say Pete Carroll, he's old and senile at this point. He wants to play defense and run the ball, but he doesn't have the Legion of Boom no more, and he doesn't have a great offensive line to run the ball. Period.
I think Pete Carroll having like not that he has no spine. I don't know him like that, but he just doesn't. Every time I see a mic'd up thing from any player in Seattle and they talk to Pete Carroll, it's like this cushy like. Pete Carroll's basically like, no, you're okay. It's all right, blah, blah, blah. DK Metcalf needs someone to chew him out. This man is this giant human being that's been a celebrity in his high school, a celebrity at college. Now he's in the NFL. Someone needs to chew this man out. And I see Pete Carroll be like, it's all right, buddy, while DK Metcalf is punching people in the face.
Hey, y'all remember when they interviewed him? When they interviewed him, they said that Pete Carroll asked him to take his shirt off, and he would too. So Pete Carroll took his shirt off.
Yeah, I saw that.
See,
Joe,
at the moment, you know why? Because he was already trying to sun him. He was like, listen,
yeah,
I'm the big dog around here.
Joe, Russell Wilson.
I am Ellen DeGeneres.
Russell Wilson. Do you think he stays in Seattle or you think he's elsewhere?
Well, like you guys are talking about, if it comes down to it, do you take your star quarterback or do you take your coach? Because one of them's gone. And it's only a matter of time till one of them's gone this offseason. But where Russell Wilson, like who could take it? I don't know who could take it, but I'm gonna say Russell Wilson to Tennessee.
That'd be interesting. And it's the rumors are flying that Tennessee's kind of in the market. Tampa's another one that'd be interesting if Russ landed there.
You know what?
Why are you hating on DK? Why are you hating? Let him do his 3 sons. Let him do his 4 sons.
Tennessee got a high-paid QB, man. How much is Tanny getting paid, bro? Tanny's getting like 35 a year, bro. Something like that.
And he's solid. It showed this year at the end, especially like he's not at that next level. Hold
on. Here's the thing, though. We've seen him, in the last couple years, be like, when a higher QBR ratings play, he go out there and shred if need be. But you know what that team is? They trying to play defense, own time of possession with Henry. They did that even without Henry. So like. Maybe that's why they're like, you know what, we can do this with anybody. Ooh. Let's get someone better than Tannehill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Tennessee's kind of screwed with Tannehill.
Tennessee was their number 1 seed this year. That's crazy.
I just pulled up his contract for them to cut him. They'd have to take out 18
I'm talking
million.
about in the AFC though.
No, I know, but I mean, I was saying I get you. I'm just saying the Packers suck too. I'm just playing Mike. That was a joke at Mike. My bad, bro. It's a joke at Mike. Go ahead, Joe.
Failed.
Huh?
I'm anti-Rodgers.
No, for the Titans to get rid of if they cut him, they're taking a cap hit of $18 million. So I don't know. It looks like Tannehill might be staying.
He'd have to be in the deal with wherever they trade with.
Hey, but Joe, this is how I'm feeling about Russell Wilson. Mike, look at the jersey behind you. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, one of the greatest to ever do it, right? When you think about Kobe Bryant and you think about Michael Jordan, you think about these guys, you think about the Lakers, you think about the Bulls. When I think of Russell Wilson, I think about the Seahawks. When the Lakers were terrible, Kobe Bryant was there. Like they talked about trade rumors every year. He's going to the Knicks, he's going to the Bulls, he's going wherever. He stayed true to the Lakers and built a legacy there, and they got better towards the end of his career. And, that's what happened. The Seahawks are going to come back before Russell Wilson retires. They're going to have a few more good years before he's done. I think he's going to be there his whole career. He's going to have a legacy. He's going to be the most beloved Seahawk of all time by far, and just kind of the guy who you think of when you think of the Seahawks.
Hey, you know what's hella funny is that, like, he got a Super Bowl and he shredded in that Super Bowl for what it's worth, right? But you know what? Malcolm Smith, he just did that much more, just enough by himself to get him the MVP as a rookie linebacker. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the next year they storm back in overtime, beat Packers, go back to the Super Bowl against the evil Empire, and then. And instead of just running it with beast mode, because he probably would have got the MVP, Pete Carroll, this is the first early stage of old and senile Pete Carroll. He goes like this, you know what? We're gonna make sure Russ gets this MVP, and we're gonna make him throw the ball.
And if he just would have handed the ball off, Brady would still be playing because he would want one more ring.
Well,
Pete Carroll ruined everything.
I know it's not as big of a game, but why are we as mad at Mike Vrabel for not running the ball in the fourth quarter late like the Niners did to win that game? No one's mad at Mike Vrabel except for me for throwing the ball and throwing a pick and losing the game when he could have just ran it for 10 yards and got a first. Like, why are we only mad at Pete Carroll? Because Mike Vrabel.
Because Tennessee was playing the Bengals and nobody really cared
in the second round.
The Seahawks were playing the Patriots and everybody hates the Patriots.
And in the Super Bowl.
Nobody wants to Tom Brady.
Hey, you know what's funny though? It's like, see, Tom Brady to me, like, while everyone hated him, I was always contrarian because, and also I always claimed Brady because he grew up a 49er fan. You know what I mean? And when my Niners were bad, I loved Brady and Rodgers because those are the guys I wanted, in hindsight, obviously, you know what I mean? Because, you never know until in hindsight, right? Where then I get sour, like, we should have had Rodgers. We should have had Brady, or you know what I mean?
Sad. I'm very sad that he's retiring. One, because I'm a huge fan of Tom Brady. He's probably like my favorite non-Chargers player to ever play the game. But also because I just loved backing Tom Brady and everyone going against me, and I'm just always right about it.
You always win.
Always right about
You're
it.
Tom Brady fan. That's what I'm talking about now, Mike. Tom Brady retired.
Tom Brady
avocados, bro. Avocados are like magical, bro.
I like Brady a little bit more than Dak, but Dak might get there one day if he can win some Super Bowls too.
Mike,
y'all want to hear my theory on the Cowboys? Like, while the Cowboy fans, they're like rooting for like, a Super Bowl, what they need to root for is Jerry Jones' death. Because as long as he's alive, that team is in disarray. He's more concerned with being America's team and getting ratings and this and that. Hey, you could be the worst Cowboys team and still have the highest ratings, but that's all he's concerned with, man.
The roster they have now.
He needs to die. But he's so rich, he's probably figured out a way to clone himself. So he's probably going to be around for a long time.
The roster they have now is so good for the future. Like the next 3 years, the Cowboys should be contenders, but they're not going to be somehow.
Hey, you know how much the Cowboys are in the worst salary cap this year? What are they at? They're already over 21 million.
Jerry ain't tripping.
They gotta get rid of Coop.
Uncle Jerry's like, "Where's my checkbook?"
And DeMarcus Lawrence. They need to get rid of DeMarcus Lawrence and Coop, and then they'll be back in the positive 20 mil.
Wait, somebody just said the Raiders screwed up by getting rid of Amari Cooper. Actually, 2 years later, looking like it's not that bad. Jerry Jones just called out Amari Cooper of how bad he was.
I mean, you know what Amari Cooper is? He's the guy who's not good on a per game basis. Like he's the guy that just don't watch. Then at the end of the season, you look at his numbers, like, he had over 1,000. You know what I mean? But it's like because he had one game where he went like bananas, and then or maybe 4 or 5 games where he goes bananas the rest of the year. He's like,
and that's fine. Coop, you can do that, but he's getting paid top 5 money.
And that's why Uncle Jerry that's why I said Uncle Jerry needs to die, because he wants to always reset the market. He always wants his guys to be highest paid. I mean, you gotta love that though, right? That's awesome for an owner. Like, hey, I gotta make sure my guys are paid. But then he's the one complaining about how Cooper's contract is frustrating him. You know what
Only
I mean?
3 people like that he does that: Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper. Those are the only 3 guys that
And
like he does
DeMarcus
that.
Lawrence. And
And
DeMarcus
DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah, 4 guys.
DeMarcus
my
Lawrence
bad.
makes the
4
same amount this year as Myles Garrett did.
What
Jesus.
about they got to keep Gregory too, though? Don't they got to keep? Isn't Gregory hitting the market?
Gregory? Oh, I don't know what's going on with him and his contract. Honestly, it's probably coming up, and they're going to give him stupid money.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Hey, I
He's
gotta
gonna be.
give
I
props
like
to-
Gregory.
I like Gregory.
You know what? We're gonna reset the market. The cap's going up, right? Uncle Jerry just like
Right
right
here.
checks, bro.
I
All right,
gotta
enough
give you
Cowboys
props.
hate. Enough Cowboys hate.
Hey, Mike, I gotta give this guy props though, because
What?
people say I gotta give him props because people say you can't wish death on somebody. You can't wish death on a celebrity. You can't. This guy, I mean, you say you can't wish injury. You can't wish injury on a guy. He's like, y'all never talked about death though. Y'all can't wish injury. You never talk about death. So I like that. I like that. You're like, I don't want him to get injured. I want him to die. Like,
Hey, he's got to go.
hey, I'm a Raider fan. We heard that
I'm
about
not a
Al
Cowboy
Davis.
fan.
It didn't change nothing.
Clearly, but I'm just saying, if I was a Cowboy fan, that's what you got to root for.
We ain't fixed yet.
Hey, Mike,
anyways.
He's the guy they had to talk off the ledge because he wanted to draft Johnny Manziel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been terrible.
Uncle
Hey,
Jerry's crazy.
Mike, if we're in the fantasy championship and I have Saquon Barkley left, and you're like, I hope he gets injured. You're like, I just hope he dies in this game.
Okay, enough. We're gonna be taking off of the internet any minute now. So
Yeah,
let's move on.
it might sound more.
Next
It might sound morbid, but listen, it's what they're thinking. I'm
Away
just saying
from
what
death.
they're thinking.
Away from death
saying.
and toward QBs that are full of life. Jameis Winston.
Oh, and real quick, I think the Colts would be interesting for Wilson. There you go.
That would be
Just to
interesting.
throw one
I
out
like
there.
it. I like it. And
They just don't. I don't know if they have too many assets. They, because they traded a first to get Wentz. So
Yeah, probably
you know
not.
what I mean.
Jameis Winston. I think he's gonna be the Saints again next year. I don't think the Saints have very many options because of their cap situation. They're probably just gonna have to go with Winston or draft somebody. So I'm gonna go with Saints. What do you think, Joe?
For Winston?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Saints are like 75 million over already. Like you're gonna have to take whatever you can. They might just be like pick up some XFL guys that that look good. Or what's that new league started up? The USFL. So they'll look and see who they can get for cheap off of there and just sign them.
They gotta trade Michael Thomas. This is getting ridiculous now. They're paying him to do nothing at this point. They gotta get him out of there.
They're 75 million over the cap. It's the Saints and the Packers who have the worst.
Couldn't you see that being a New England move? I mean, they already have history of making trades with New Orleans. So
Talking about MT?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they love a bit.
Oh,
He'd be like the ultimate slot receiver for them. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess Josh McDaniels is gone now, so I don't know what it's going to look like.
He'd be good for Vegas too.
He got it, Renfro.
He'd be good for
I
Vegas.
remember running like all kind of like triple moves and shit.
And I don't know MT personally, but just based off of what I've seen in the news, I think he would enjoy living in Las Vegas.
Hey, you ever notice that Michael Thomas's head's really tall? It's not quite a big head. It's tall. It's like really tall. That's why I call him Frankenstein, actually.
Jameis Winston, Bogart, where do you think he goes?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Jay?
I actually want to say Pittsburgh too. It'd be a perfect
Pittsburgh?
fit, I think.
Yeah.
All right, next
You
guy.
know, Mike
I just want to
Tomlin,
see more of Winston's workout videos.
Yeah.
You know, Mike Tomlin too. He probably is like, hell yeah, Ben Roethlisberger's out of here. Mike Tomlin want to get a little bit more color around him. You know what I mean?
You got Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins
Good,
wants
Joe.
to be white, bro. Dwayne Haskins.
Haskins. Yes.
Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
Get him some chicken wings.
Let's
All
just
right,
say if Pittsburgh goes into next season with Mason Rudolph, that's a joke. It's the biggest joke I've ever seen because Mason Rudolph has shown that he's not the guy. They need to get rid of his ass too.
Mason Rudolph's going to shock the world, bro.
It better be Kenny Pickett or Coral or something if the
Hey,
offense.
I like
That's
how
a good callback, right?
I like how Joe
Joe
throws like apostrophes in people's names randomly like that, like with Kenyon Drake and Mason Rudolph. I like how you do that, Joe.
Nate. All right, next guy. Kirk Cousins. I think he'll be a Viking. What do you guys think? I don't think his contract's too easy to move.
Yet?
Huh?
They didn't hire nobody yet, huh?
Yeah, they did. They're hiring the Rams OC.
The Rams OC.
Oh, yeah, word. Okay.
So they got to wait till after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they keep Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I think that'd be a smart move, yeah.
because Kirk Cousins. So the system in play right now is Gary Kubiak's son, right? And then, so he's gone. But the Kubiak system is basically the Shanahan system. You know what I mean? And Sean McVay, his system derives from both Shanahan and the Kubiak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying like he's gonna be able to pick up this system easily.
So here's the only reason. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was like, here's the only reason I can see him actually leaving, because I think he fits that offense good no matter who shows up, because he's been there. But the only reason he can leave Minnesota is because he has 1 year left on his contract, and I'm looking it up right now. And if they release him, they don't get crap, but they have to trade him. If they could trade him and say somebody goes, hey, I'll get him for a 7th round pick, and you're like, hell yeah, I'll take that 7th round pick. So they have to trade him, and if they could trade him, they save $35 million.
His contract is impossible.
And that's the crazy thing, because they're $15 million over the cap already.
Value, though. Here's the thing, though. He's market value, though. That's the market for like a quote unquote. Hold on. Actually, first of all, I just want to give props to Kirk Cousins and his agent, because man, they've been killing it. Once he got that first franchise tag from Washington, then he got the second one. He's like, I like this guaranteed money thing. You know what I mean?
And then the next year, max deal with the Vikings.
Hey, shout out to my guy JC Money out there in the world. He's one of the guys I work with on our channel, and he lives in Minnesota. And he's all, man, on local TV, Kirk Cousins is in all the commercials and the sleep mattresses and the Audi dealerships, and like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just getting a bag. He's doing everything but winning games.
If I'm an NFL player, I'm looking at Kirk Cousins' contracts, and that's what I want. You want to take the shorter deals, the 2 to 3 year deals, but are all fully guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And max money.
Because everybody takes those 8 year deals, and all of it's backloaded, and you never see it.
Or incentive driven, or you know what I mean?
Speaking of quarterbacks playing on crazy contracts, what about Matt Ryan? I think that he will be a Falcon next year. Maybe they draft a 1 year sitter.
Hey, Matt Ryan died last year, bro.
I think that there's a chance Matt Ryan retires. And we're just not talking about him like we are the other guys. And I don't know why. Everyone just hates Matt Ryan. Like Big Ben gets Swan Song, TB12, obviously.
Hey, why did they not draft
Matt Ryan gets
those QBs there?
Matt Ryan gets
like what Arthur Smith
never won Super Bowl, Mike. Go ahead.
Because when you can get a generation talent like Kyle Pitts at number 4 with an old quarterback,
where's Robson at? They need to draft a quarterback.
Why did they not? They had Mac Jones there. They had Justin Fields there. I actually had them drafting Mac Jones, like in my my early mocks. You know what I mean?
Robson was so excited about Kyle Pitts getting picked because that was such a New York Jets pick.
Justin Fields would have been perfect in Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, 1 year behind him. Maybe even let him play a little bit in that year in games that are blowouts, and then come out this year.
Robson said something about you should draft the modern day Megatron and Devonta Smith. So I remember that's the only thing I really remember from the draft.
Kyle Pitts is the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Robson's the Mayock of NFL draft analysis. All right. We got 2 more. Next one, Tua. I think Tua's going to be a Dolphin. I think they committed to him with all this drama.
Tua, Dolphin, and they're going to the playoffs.
No. I think Tua's going to be a Dolphin, and I think they're going to win 7 games.
Tua's going to the Texans, and Brian Flores is going with them.
I like that. Joe. So Deshaun Watson to Miami.
Yeah, and hey, Brian Flores is going to be like at the end of any given Sunday, where he takes the quarterback with him. You know what I mean? And when Al Pacino takes Jimmy Fox with him.
That's kind of bad, though, because the Tua believers are going to be like, oh, he's in Houston. That's the only reason why he stinks, even though he stunk since day one.
Yeah.
Well, Deshaun Watson, we'll say he's better than Tua at this point, right?
Yeah, a little.
So I think Deshaun to Miami, then. Let's get it.
I think I'd rather – no, I'm not going to say that. But anyways,
Mike McDaniel probably going to be the head coach of Miami. They're interviewing – who did I say Miami's interviewing tomorrow? Kellen Moore. And then they'll see after that.
Oh, Kellen Moore. They better hire – is Mike McDaniel's the 49ers guy?
Yeah, and I like him because he says, Mike Jones? Who? Mike
Jones! They should go with him for sure.
I'm the only one of us fools that actually scouted out college. But yeah.
That actually scouted
out. You're the only one that said the Kansas City Chiefs will go 17-0 as well.
And that the Jets were going to go 8-9.
When you scout players, look at their height. I mean, just look at his height and weight for Devonta Smith, and I knew he wasn't Megatron. That's all I needed to look at.
Well, Kyle Pitts actually was really good in his rookie year for a tight
No,
end.
all
He's
love
gonna
to
be
you,
really good.
Robson.
It just
Kyle
I-
Pitts, nobody's arguing about Kyle Pitts and how great he is or how good he is.
exactly.
It's the fit. Atlanta knows that Matt Ryan is old and they need to replace him. And drafting a tight end at that time wasn't going to go. Oh,
And
that was our missing piece.
And then,
fourth
here's the
overall
thing,
pick.
though. You have Arthur Smith there, right? New head coach. Just came from Tennessee before that, right? Winning culture. He's coming in. It's like, okay, you need to. Are you going to rebuild? Because when you draft Kyle Pitts, it seems like you're not in rebuild. But then you trade away Julio Jones. So then that tells me like, oh, are they in rebuild mode?
You don't know. You don't know
what I mean? Like, I don't think they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the Bengals believed in themselves to compete this year, and that's why they picked Jamar Chase. Did the Falcons look at the team and go, "We can do it"?
They almost made the playoffs, Mike.
Yeah. I was gonna say what were they like 9th? They were like at the 9th or 10th seed,
which is
they were like a game away.
It even means more to draft the quarterback last year because now you're going to be in like the 12th spot picking this year, and you're going to have to pick the third quarterback. Well, actually, not that great this year, right?
Pick Malik Willis in the second round.
Malik Willis. If they can get their hands on him, they better draft him. All right, last one. Everyone's here. The grandpappy of the quarterbacks, and then we'll wrap this because we're already an hour 15. Went by quick. Aaron Rodgers, who I think will be a Denver Bronco, but I hope that he either retires or goes anywhere else in the universe. Go play for a team on a different civilization.
Twice a year, Mike.
I will say this. I am a little bit less because before I was really upset about Rodgers to Denver because I'm a Chargers fan and I don't want to play him twice a year. But after seeing what they did this year, I will die saying that there is no team next year that Rodgers can go to that is going to be better than the Green Bay Packers in 2021. The team they had this year was a Super Bowl team, and they blew it. They choked, and they got out-schemed, and they got outplayed by Jimmy Garoppolo and offensive line. So I am a little bit less worried about Aaron Rodgers. But what do you guys think? Where do you
Mike,
think?
Hold on, Mike.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Denver.
Nah, Mike. As a future Chargers fan, in less than a month, I'm telling you, I really, really want Aaron Rodgers to Denver because then we get to see Justin Herbert.
You want to sell your season tickets? Tell them the real reason.
Okay. All right.
hey, that would sell more tickets, though. You feel me? Like that's some marquee matchups here in the division alone.
Oh, roll for it.
You know what was exciting? Okay, look at when Brady went to Tampa Bay. Wasn't that exciting when Brady went to Tampa Bay? Because we're like, wow, we're gonna get Brady Breeze twice a year, and they ended up kind of being whacked too. You know what I mean? In hindsight,
I'm done, bro. This is too much.
You know what I mean? But like, listen, I want Rodgers to go anywhere. I just want him to play. I don't want him to be done yet, especially because I have like Devontae in a couple dynasty leagues. But that, I digress.
We all have I'm like, reason.
Yeah, we all have exactly, and I do. Like I said, while everyone hated Brady, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people hated Rodgers. I love Rodgers. You know what I mean? Rodgers, but I also love Sagittarius too, because I'm one as well. So it's like I just find ways. Like that's why I can never really truly hate Russell Wilson. He's just awesome. He's a Sagittarius, and he finds a way. You know what I mean? And with that said, I feel the same way about Rodgers. Like if he wants to play, he's gonna be able to go to wherever he wants to go. And like, here's one thing too. When we think about this, when's the last time someone traded a QB away? It was Carson Wentz. So that's not really a blockbuster trade. This is going to be the blockbuster of all trades. You know what I mean? So he's going to decide where he wants to go. You know what I mean? And that team's probably going to pay up whatever they're asking. You know what I mean? And I would say it's Pittsburgh because like him and Mike Tomlin, they've been flirting, playing golf and shit.
Yeah,
and celebrity joints. I think that, and everything's there. He wants to go the Brady route. Why is he going to leave the nest where everything's in place in Green Bay? If not, go somewhere where they do have a top 5 defense, Najee Harris in the run game. You know what I mean? A trio of receivers with Juju, Claypool, and Deontay Johnson. And then, yes, it's a bad offensive line, but when you're Aaron Rodgers and you have all these weapons, even Freiermuth, I forgot about Freiermuth, right? You have all these weapons that compensates for a bad offensive line. Like they're immediately a Super Bowl favorite. You know what I mean?
Pick your poison. Do you want LJ, Baker, and Joe, which is great quarterbacks to go against twice a year? Don't get me wrong. Or Herbert, Mahomes, Carr. Which one do you want to go against?
I think he wants infrastructure. That's what he wants. And Denver, he not only would he be jumping in bed with Mahomes and Herbert, but if he goes into Denver, their infrastructure is not in place. You know what I mean? There's too many things that got to happen. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm not trying to have any kind of start over. I'm trying to get slotted right in and go right back to winning. You know what I mean? And the infrastructure is there. Look at Steelers were able to win with sorry ass Big Ben Rapisberger, bro. He was like really bad out there. You know what I mean?
They had a winning season with like a combo of Dobbs.
And he was bad.
And it was what?
Can we say the same thing about Denver having maybe better weapons and maybe better defense, and they had Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock playing quarterback?
They do not have a better defense.
They don't have TJ Watt and Jordan and
my bad. Comparable defense. I'm not gonna say better. I'm say comparable defense. It's not that far off.
They're
good.
They have a good
defense, but I think they have a better offense though. If you bring Aaron Rodgers in most situations, I think they have a better offense.
Well, it's Nathaniel. Okay, how about this? It's Nathaniel Hatchett, right? So theoretically, they would run that zone run scheme, and they favor the inside zone run because like I said, this is a guy who's a product of LaFleur now, and it's all that Shanahan type of zone run schemes. You know what I'm saying? So Aaron Rodgers obviously picks up from day one. You know what I mean? Just knowing what.
I got one for you.
Jay, you gotta go and watch Pittsburgh Steelers highlights this year. The weapons in Pittsburgh are very underrated. Those guys bailed Ben Roethlisberger out every time.
Deontay Johnson.
I know every time they scored, it was because of the receivers. It was not because of Big Ben.
It was all good. It was all good.
I got a team for you.
Joe, I'm hearing.
This team has the money.
Not Denver.
This team has the picks. They usually don't go out and make these picks. They usually don't go out and make these trades, but a couple years ago they made a trade and it worked out. They traded the first-round pick. And Bogart kind of mentioned it earlier that it was the last trade of a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers to the Indianapolis Colts with Carson Wentz going back to Green Bay. Bam. There we go.
I love it.
I like that.
And that's the division. Insane. That's a good division.
They got infrastructure over there.
He gets to play indoors. He has a great running back. He has a good enough offense with Pittman. There you go.
Frank Reich is a respectable coach.
Think about what the Colts have been doing. Jacoby Brissett, veteran. To Phillip Rivers, veteran. To Carson Wentz, veteran. Like the moves, they just
and
keep
they already didn't commit to Carson Wentz. The GM, who has been a very good GM, what's his name? Chris Ballard. He already said, "I'm not gonna talk about it anymore."
That was the truth. I put Ballard in the same category as like a Howie Roseman. You know what I'm saying? Like just somebody they're just great GMs, bro. Build great organizations.
Because they've been quietly building the Colts up, and they haven't been making these big moves. They've been keeping their draft picks. I mean, they made a big trade with the Niners.
I mean, I was about to say they traded. I still don't like that trade. I didn't like it when it happened.
But see, for the Colts, it was like get a veteran guy at defensive tackle or draft Kinlaw, and you guys said, okay, we'll get rid of the guy and bring Kinlaw in. So it worked out for the Colts.
Man, Kinlaw was like. Here's the thing: is Buckner is on record for saying like he would have took not the reset the market deal. He would have took like a little bit, he would have met them halfway. And we were just like, man, we're gonna. As soon as the first meeting, we couldn't get a deal done. We're like, you know what, we're gonna trade his ass.
Yeah,
Armstead's really good too. Armstead's really good.
We paid Armstead first too. I didn't like when we paid Armstead either. I wanted to pay Buckner.
I just think the situation they're in, they're like, we can get more trade value out of Buckner, and Armstead is not as big of a downfall as what we're going to get. And then Kinlaw's worked out, hasn't he? I mean, I haven't really watched him.
Nah.
He's not very good.
He was hurt all year.
Yeah. And like DJ Jones was like decent enough. Like, and then, he's behind DJ Jones for sure when he comes back. You know what I mean?
I want the Chargers to get DJ.
I'm just saying, how many seasons do the Colts have to continue waiting until they make that big move and go, you know what, we want to win it this year. Let's go.
I mean, maybe Frank Reich is just cursed because he was there part of all them Bills teams.
He's a part of some of our teams too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was your OG for a minute.
You got that curse all over him.
Yeah, but
look, y'all, I'm gonna compare this real quick. You got, I'm gonna say it's ridiculous, but Jerry Jeudy with Aaron Rodgers could be Devontae Adams-esque a little bit. I think he has the same, he could be a little bit like Devontae. You got two backs that could be like Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. Then you got Cortland Sutton, who's just a beast who has never been utilized because he's never had a quarterback. Imagine if that guy gets Aaron Rodgers, he can be a top 5 wide receiver next year, like I called Cooper Kupp this year with Matt Stafford. Like and they have no offense with a better Tonyan.
But here's the thing. Is I look at Cortland Sutton and I go, yeah, he's a good receiver, but he kind of looks eye to eye with guys like Chase Claypool.
I would say this: if Aaron Rodgers
Claypool's wide receiver 3 in Pittsburgh.
How about
Claypool
if the Packers tag, if we see the Packers tag Devontae Adams before in this next couple weeks,
Rodgers staying.
That means Rodgers is probably going to stay. That's a tell right there. But if we don't see him get tagged, and then Aaron Rodgers ends up in Denver, for sure, he's going to Adams is going to Denver and getting the big bag.
That team is nasty because you already got Deontay Johnson. You got wide receivers in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
If you put Devontae in Denver with Cortland, that's the 3 right there for you.
No, but then they gotta trade one of the receivers. They're paying Tim Patrick 16. They're paying Cortland.
Yeah, they're paying. Those are all team friendly deals, though. You know what I mean?
16 and 20.
Yeah, listen, that's what incentives and all that. That's not the guarantee for the 1 year.
Devontae wants 30, 25.
Yeah, they'll give him it.
Get rid of Tim Patrick regardless. I want
to probably trade Tim Patrick in the Rodgers deal to free up space to also get Adams.
Hey, those fools are funny, Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton, because I shout out to them because you know what I mean. They were able to get a bag out of like having a career with shitty quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. They're bailout receivers. They're guys that are good for shitty quarterbacks. They can go up and get the ball when it's thrown up in the air.
Yeah.
Jump.
I'm saying, though, I think, like, we would see how Rodgers really feels about Nathaniel Hackett because when Rodgers would go on the McAfee show every Tuesday, he would speak very highly of the guy. You know what I mean? Like, he would always big him up. You know what I mean? But then at the same time, too, that could be just being respectful because I think he respects someone like a Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? Like, the one thing is, the Steelers never do this historically. They never make trades like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they usually are.
But if I'm the Steelers, I'm not trying to go from Roethlisberger to like experiment until we find a guy. Especially if I'm Mike Tomlin, where I'm like, I might want to pull a Sean Payton and be like, you know what, I'm out of here. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be interesting if you actually did something like that.
So I think they would put everything's in place right now for them to win now. So I think like that's the strongest push.
Would you rather have the receivers and the defense in Pittsburgh or the O-line and the defense and of course, J-Tay in Indy? Because I think the strength of the Steelers is going to be the defense. You go there for the defense, and they have good receivers, but the O-line's kind of stinky. I think Rodgers will believe in himself enough to go and
if Rodgers goes there, he's a draw for
See,
you know what, though? That's another thing, too. They kind of have cap issues, too. It would really just be Rodgers slotting right in, and then, like, they would also have to extend him too. That's another thing too. If you trade for Rodgers, you only have him for the 1 season, so you immediately got to extend him. You know what I mean?
What's Indy's cap situation like? I don't even know what it's like.
I haven't looked into that yet because they haven't been interesting yet enough for me to like look this up. So
maybe they could host both Adams and Rodgers. That's
possible. The Colts have the 6th best salary cap space this year.
They have a shot at hosting both of them.
That's what I'm saying. They quietly have always been at the top and been able to make moves.
That's just them work. They've always been good. Yeah, they've always had good caps.
Here's another thing. If you're giving up, if you're a team and you're like, okay, here's 5 first-round picks or whatever it costs to get Rodgers, right? You know what I'm saying? And you're only going to have him for maybe about 2 seasons, right? You got to keep that in mind. So if you're that team and if you're Green Bay and you're like, okay, if I trade you to him, what are these first-round picks for the first 2 years? You know what I mean? Ooh. They're probably in the back of the first round. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're really banking on the future. Like I think teams that are built in place right now, they don't want to do these hard resets. You know what I mean? Like New Orleans, they have a lot in place. They just need a QB. You know what I mean? And it's like, Sean Payton's like, even that's not enough right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough.
To your point, the one thing I have to your point is I've always felt since I've been watching football, the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 2 teams that are always so overrated. They always win more games than it feels like they actually should have somehow. I mean, maybe that's a perfect fit for Aaron Rodgers. Like Rob's has been saying over and over in the chat. He goes to Pittsburgh, they're the number 1 seed, and then they lose in the second round. Like, that might be what it is again. Those are the teams that do that, in my opinion. So maybe
Yeah, I mean, I think for Pittsburgh, it'll just depend on health for them. If the defense can stay healthy, what are you going to do? You can't score on them, and they can score on you. How are you going to beat them?
get Jimmy G out there, baby, get it done like they did this year.
No, with A-Rod.
Jimmy G is 4-2 in the postseason. Let's go.
Let's get it.
That defense is ridiculous.
It's so funny when you say stuff like that out loud, though, right? Because like Jimmy has more playoff wins than Stafford and Deshaun Watson combined. Right?
And Dak.
Oh, no,
Dak
4.
They're combining everybody. Dak
Yeah.
also. Wentz.
All of them. Just throw them all in the mix.
They're combine them.
Hey, here you go. Here you go, Mike. Here's your prediction. Jimmy G to the Dolphins. The Dolphins in the wild card beat the Steelers, 2nd seed, 7th seed on the road. Jimmy G over Aaron
With
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Let's get it.
With Rodgers there.
Tua can do it, though.
Hey, Rodgers probably hates Jimmy High. He's probably like, he sucks. He always beats me. He sucks. He's not any good.
I know I'm better than him.
For real. Hey, you know what, man? I really get mad, though, because, man, somewhere in the multiverse, there is a version where the Niners have Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, I just want to make it all right. Like, let's just come full circle and somehow. But, you know, they have better chance. We have better chances trading them Jimmy life after Rodgers versus us getting Rodgers up out of them. You know what I mean?
Everything is different if you guys draft Rodgers. We never see an Alex Smith era in San Fran. We never see Colin Kaepernick.
I will say though,
we never see Jimmy. We never see
Rodgers probably does
Super Bowl.
Rodgers probably does spend the first couple years on his back though, just like Alex did, because it was a bad offensive line. You know what I mean? So there's that. But clearly, the talent would have been there. You know
I think
maybe Rodgers doesn't even develop the same if he doesn't sit for those couple years behind Brett. We don't know.
Well, I think if it's the
what
same
did you really learn from Brett? No, how to get hammered and hide it at practice?
That's the exact opposite. He's like a safe quarterback. And Brett is like I'm just gonna throw it and hope.
Hey, the
like,
Niners have 4
God's
Super
gonna
Bowls
guide this ball.
The Niners have 4 Super Bowls if they draft Aaron Rodgers. He played like he has his career.
Okay, check this out. I was kind of sour the other week. Somebody sent me it was a Bleacher Report article, and it was talking about how dumbass what's his name? Dumbass Mike Singletary, when he was our head coach in 2009, he vetoed an already made trade for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
so
I've seen that
thing. And I ain't gonna lie, with the defense we had at the time, and then say we everything stays the same, we go on to get Harbaugh, and but we in this case we have Roethlisberger, we win a few. You know, Roethlisberger went that year when we were supposed to trade for him, apparently, or at least what this article said. I mean, Roethlisberger went to 2 Super Bowls in a row that year with the Steelers, so it's like.
Hey,
I'm not saying it's automatic, but
I'll tell you this: if Colin Kaepernick, much like the Cap as a person, but he threw the ball to Richard Sherman, and that cost them the Super Bowl trip, and they would have won that Super Bowl by a lot because the Seahawks smacked the Broncos. That's already won. I know you can find 3 more in that era that they probably would have won.
I mean, listen, I hate for the record, I hate Jim Harbaugh because he brought me bad memories. You know, for my Niners, right? It was all about I grew up a Niner fan. You know, my parents came from the PI in 78 and got to the I was born in the 80s. You know, they went, they went to the city is my point, you know, so it's all in our blood. You know what I mean? I was raised a Niner fan, and what Niner tradition is, you get to the Super Bowl, you don't lose that thing. You know what I mean? So and Harbaugh just brought us hella heartache. You know what I mean? I hate Harbaugh because he's also okay, we ran the read option, right? But then when we got into the red zone, he's calling the plays. And he lets Kaepernick take the dive for all the bad calls he made. Not running Frank the Tank down there in the Super Bowl. After I unplugged and turned the lights out. I did it. It was me. Statute of limitation.
All right. We just passed an hour and a half, so I think we can wrap it here. What a stream.
What do I guys owe you for therapy?
Appreciate you, Bogart. You want to plug your stuff? Let them know where to find you.
Yeah, you can follow me at the GMM Network. I'm mainly active on the gram, and you can subscribe to the GMM Network on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's the Gimme Money Network. You know what I mean? We're really tailored for your more hardcore savvy fantasy enthusiasts. You know what I mean? We deal with mainly super flex and we're an IDP. So if we really encourage y'all to like check us out. And then what else we got? Oh yeah, we do a daily show called FNT, Fantasy News Today. It's basically just a news show. I mean, because there's not really nothing much to talk fantasy, but we're talking all things every day. You know what I mean? We come on at 2:00 West Coast time, 5:00 Eastern, and then I do another show called The Real Fantasy Playmakers, and we're going live this Sunday, 6:30 West Coast time. It's an official Tom Brady Alpha David dossier type joint. We're breaking down all his crimes in the NFL.
I love it.
You know what I mean?
I'll be there.
Hey, if you want to join, man, I'll shoot you the link. This one.
All right, I'll let you know.
Hey, you know what's funny? So many people want in on this one. They're like, all the Brady haters are coming out. They're like, let me get on this one.
I'm a Brady lover. You said Sunday though?
Yeah, Sunday.
I'll be at the Pro Bowl watching my boy Herbert on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, we'll be rooting for Herbie. It's me and Jay's quarterback. Speaking of Jay, when's the next Up for Debate episode?
Next Up for Debate this Monday coming up at 6 p.m. Western Coast time, PST, and then 9:00 Eastern. For all y'all out there on the East Coast, much love for y'all. Go Chargers, go Justin Herbert, Rodgers to Denver. Let's get it.
And then Joe, I just pretend to like you, so you don't get a chance to plug. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate everybody. See you next time on this Warzone Sports Network channel.